But I kind of want to create that same kind of memory for the future generations, for decades to come.
Yep.
Yeah,
Nostalgia is important.
I'm always future thinking.
Hey y'all, I'm Emily, an almost lifelong quilter with a lot of stories to tell. I have loved quilts and talking about them for as long as I can remember, and I'm here to celebrate the tradition of quilting with you. We'll celebrate quilts and the real people who made them, learn a little bit about the history of quilting, and have lots of fun exploring ways to reclaim tradition in a modern world. I'm so glad you're joining me this week here at Patchwork Revival.
Hello, hello. Welcome to this episode of the Patchwork Revival podcast. I am your host, Emily, and today we are going to be talking with my friend, Carissa Ramirez, who is a fabulous photographer. I know you might be wondering, what does photography have to do with quilting? But I really hope that you'll stick around and enjoy this conversation because it was so insightful and so fun. Carissa is a joy to speak with. I love that she's my friend, and I'm so thankful that she took the time to talk to me today. Before we get started, a few of our normal housekeeping things. Remember to like, review, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Remember that we're also on YouTube. There are times that we talk a little bit about visual things, given that we're discussing a visual art form and a visual craft. But overall, we're doing a good job translating things into audio. Just remember the YouTube videos are there if you ever need to reference anything. Remember that in the show description, you'll be able to find links for our guests to see more of their work. You'll be able to find my website, which is www.patchworkrevivalstudios.com. Don't forget that if you listen all the way to the end of the podcast, as we're on the outro portion of the podcast, you will find an exclusive podcast listener discount code to apply to my pattern shop on the website. If you're interested, check it out. I think that's about all of the housekeeping that we have today. Let's just dive right into this conversation with my friend Carissa. I hope you'll enjoy this. So, my thought, Carissa, with having you on a pod is because last year I did an episode about like labeling and documenting quilts and our work as quilters because most of us don't do that. Also, my big thing on this podcast is history, legacy, passing our knowledge down from generation to generation.
I
And
love that.
that means, I believe our quilts are art. Not everybody believes that. Even people who make quilts don't believe that, but I think we do make art and we have to document it and at least put a label on it. But this is a quilt journal from my grandma. I got it from her house after she passed away because I'm like the only relative that quilts. And I think it's probably from a Hallmark store. Do you remember Hallmark store?
I totally remember Hallmark store.
Because Carissa and I were talking about how we're millennials. So, of course, we know a Hallmark store. And so if you look at it, she like took pictures, like really blurry,
Oh my gosh.
like pictures of her quilts and then put it in,
This is
like
the cutest
taped it in this
thing.
journal. And then like she would put, maybe it has information like date made, who you made it for, comments and thoughts. Mama did not have many comments or thoughts.
She's really good at the pictures though.
Well,
And dating them.
yeah, so she dated, look at that. That's
This
her and
is
her friends
So cute.
at a quilt show in Tyler. But she would write like little things like this. And I think it's so special because now I have a lot of her work documented. Most of the quilts she made, she like gifted to people. And so if you have that quilt, you would know what it looked like and maybe that she made it. If not, then I guess you would have this picture and you could see. But anyway, it's really cute.
That is really cute.
I know. And then she has this little like crochet thing. One of her quilting friends gave it to her. Anyway, so I got inspired. I was like, man, I should start like a quilt book or journal or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was sort of talked about it in a previous episode, but then I was like, actually photographing quilts is really hard.
Is it?
It's hard because they're huge.
They are massive.
But anyway, so before we talk about all this, Carissa, can you tell us who you are, what you do?
Yeah. Well, my name's Carissa Ramirez. I am a photographer. I also have a communications degree, so I do use that. I am a marketing coordinator at an accounting firm.
Mm-hmm.
That's been fun. I love marketing.
Do you still do classes at
I
ASU
I
or
actually,
lectures?
because I've been so busy, I did not take on public speaking through ASU this year, but I have done that for 6 semesters. I taught online public speaking to high school students. They were like
Okay.
dual credit students.
Yeah.
I love public speaking. I love anything communication related.
You're really good at it.
Thank you.
But that translates really well into your photography skills also.
I think so too. There's nothing comfortable about taking pictures. There's nothing natural about taking pictures
No.
on the receive. Like if you're the subject,
Yeah.
unless you're a model, of course. So yeah, so you kind of have to just learn people quickly,
Yes.
kind of figure out where they're at, and then how you can communicate also quickly to get them as comfortable as possible so that you get those natural, candid smiles,
Mm-hmm.
reactions.
Yep.
So yeah, it does translate into photography.
Yeah, really well. You came and took newborn photos,
Mhm.
and then amongst that was toddler photos,
Mhm.
and they turned out so good. We love those pictures.
I love having them like in home settings because that helps so much. Like they're already in a comfortable space. Now you just have to warm them up to a stranger really quick.
Yeah.
But they did so good. They did great.
Well, yeah, our kids are very stoic and like standoffish. So I was like, I don't know how this is going to go, but they really loved Miss Carissa.
They were great. They really were.
So photography, I feel like, is something you love to do.
I love to do it. I'm a very visual person. Just colors, shapes, patterns. I like making them mix and match and making pretty things out of them. And that's pretty much photography. Even if it comes like a senior session, I love to know what they're wearing so that I can kind of coordinate the location around those colors. I'm a big color person.
Okay.
So I love planning around colors. I'm just a very colorful, visual, artsy fartsy person.
Yeah, you're very creative.
I was actually voted most creative in high school, and to this day, that's like the biggest honor.
Yeah, I'm not shocked by that at all.
I'm gonna whole page in the yearbook.
Of course. Did you do the yearbook?
No, I
Did
didn't
you make the yearbook?
No, I just
Color is interesting to me because, quilting is it's like a medium. It's a creative medium, and color is a big deal. But I have this theory about color. I think everybody sees color differently.
Oh my gosh, I think so too.
I feel like I'm half colorblind. Yeah. Because I feel like me and Jordan will be talking about something. Like, Jordan's pretty creative and, like, more, like, artsy. And he'll see something and be like, that color is the wrong. Like, remember when the hospital in town started taking over some of those buildings and putting, I never know how anonymous we should be on.
This is
on the
good.
internet.
We should probably be anonymous.
And he was like, that is the wrong green. I'm like, it just looks green to me. Did you notice that?
No,
Okay.
I notice shades. Like I'm pretty sure I see extra
No,
colors.
you probably do. I think I see very limited maybe you're just superhuman and
That's
Jordan's just superhuman. Maybe I'm just, but like when I just do things very monochromatically, and I
mhm.
think it's because I just don't see that many colors.
So interesting.
I know it would be really strange to see the world probably through your eyeballs.
And 3 years.
Yeah, you'd probably be like, this woman is handicapped when it comes to color vision. But I think that plays into style and how you sort of develop your style.
Mhm.
Because I don't know a lot of technical terms or even probably proper language to describe photography, but I notice people have different styles of
Mhm.
photography. And
Yes.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, everyone has different edits, and first starting off, the photography world, it still is very saturated, but not in a bad way. I think everybody should have the opportunity to pick up a camera and
Give it a shot.
make some art out of it.
Mhm.
But what it comes down to, like, who you hire is usually the look of their photos. And at the beginning, I tried to all these different kinds of edits, and then you just kind of find yourself
Mhm.
and what you really like and love as far as your look, and then that's how you narrow it down and develop your own personal style. I found that I really like true to color photos. Like
Mhm.
I started off a little bit moodier, a little darker, but then I adapted to this more natural colored editing, and I started kind of emphasizing those colors by using my work's a little bit more contrasty. Um, a tad bit sharper images, but it's mainly because I really want those colors to pop.
Mhm.
But I want them true because I want, like, in 10 years down the road, I still want them to be kind of this classic picture, classic photo, something that
Right.
ages well.
Not necessarily super trendy,
Yeah,
for
because I don't know
example.
how long, like, the dark and moody edits are going to, not in a sense, last. Like, what if in 10 years people are like, "What was that?
I
Why
know.
did people like that in 2024 edit that way?"
I know, which is interesting because this is a little off topic, but um we're moving houses, so we were looking a lot, in the last couple years we've moved like a couple times. I'm tired of it. But when you start looking at houses, you're like, someone in our town many years ago was very into feature ceilings.
Mm,
Like multiple
mm,
layers, I don't know, and you're just like, "What is this? Why is this a thing?" They all have crazy ceilings, and so that's kind of, trends are cool, they
mhm.
come and go.
They come and go.
So it is important to just find what you like because you'll always like it to a certain extent.
Yeah. And two, I think as um like I think you and I think the same way as far as like a keeper of memories, like documenting time.
Mhm.
I just want to make sure that these photos, like maybe in 50 years, well, we look back at 1990s camera film rolls and we're
Mhm.
like, oh, now that stuff's coming back. Like it looks
Yeah.
so nostalgic and it's trendy, but in like a warm way. Like I guess that's probably the
Yeah.
definition of nostalgia, but
Yeah.
I kind of want to create that same kind of memory for the future generations for decades to come.
Yep.
Yeah,
Nostalgia is important.
I'm always future thinking.
That's good.
Yeah.
Did you just randomly think, I'm going to try photography because I like color, I like taking pictures, I like capturing memories? Or how did you get into it?
So I've always been into it. Like in high school, um, speaking of trends, I was a very girly teenager. My
Hmm.
room was lime green, hot pink, and zebra. Like,
Oh, I'm picturing like the limited
no,
too.
totally. Think Juicy Couture perfume. The cheese straighteners were just in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So I would set up I had this one wall that was like lime green, pink, and black stripes,
Hmm.
like all the way up and down. And I would set up these little like studios with my friends, and we would like get our little outfits on, our little holster shirts, our little holster polos and our big chunky necklaces and our side swooped bangs. And we would just do like photo shoots in my room. Um, that's kind of where it started. And I was like, oh, this is so fun taking pictures of my friends, like dressing up like this. I love it.
Yeah.
But at the time, like I grew up with those parents that are very traditional. You're going to go to school, you're going to get your degree, you're going to be a teacher, you're going to come like this very stereotypical life. Like, this is what you're going to live. And then you're eventually going to get married. And well, it's not how things went. I almost flunked out my freshman year just because I was like, I don't really know what I want to do with my life. My parents
Yeah.
are telling me I need to become one of these check boxes, but I don't really see myself in any of these check boxes. So as much as I had passions about other things like photography or writing, very artsy brained, but it was hard for me to like live up to my parents' expectations of what they wanted me or what I thought I was supposed to do. But here we are. I struggled through school, but I finally found something that I enjoyed, which was communication. Completely turned my grades around, finally graduated college, and then I entered into the workforce. Thank God. Marketing was just this newly developed thing. Social media came into play. So now it was a little bit more of a traditional job, but more of a creative outlook.
Yeah.
So thank goodness that something like that was invented in that time. So I just kind of just found myself in that stream, found myself in the marketing world. And then as a creative, you have to have like an outlet. So yes, I honestly need like a 8 to 5 job to keep me grounded.
Some structure.
I need some structure, totally need that. But you also are like seeking this creative outlet still. So I'm like, what can I do in all my free time? So I actually did like, like clothing. I had a little online boutique. I actually was making like those vinyl stickers were a very popular thing. I loved making t-shirts. And then that really went well for me. I was happy with having this new creative side hustle, and it was fulfilling. And well, then I'm like, well, this thing's growing. Like, I need to start marketing myself more.
Yeah.
So then I started planning these shoots for all the clothes
For your product.
for my products. And
Yeah.
then I would set up product shoots for my stickers and my t-shirts. And that's when photography was kind of just reintroduced into my life. Like, these photo shoots were so much fun because we would plan them around like, here's the 2020 spring drop, here's the 2021 fall line. Like, it was so much fun just creating these concepts for the clothes that I was purchasing.
Like a story almost for
Yeah.
each. Yeah.
Yes. And so then here we are, and work's getting busy, but I'm not. Clothing is very hard.
Yeah.
Wholesale
Margins suck.
margins suck.
And it's a lot of work
It's a lot
and
of work.
logistics.
Yes.
And yeah.
And
It's
then
really hard.
trying to like price it where it's still affordable, and then you're just trying not to take a big loss on yourself. But it's so hard out there being a small business.
I know. It really is. It's very difficult.
Yeah. So I had to let that go, but at the same time, I still was holding on to this passion for photography. And so I was like, well, I don't want to let this go. So I started just practicing a little bit more, and I would ask some of my pretty friends who were comfortable in front of the camera. I'm like, hey, like, here's another concept I have. I couldn't let go of this concept shoot, like creative shoots.
Right.
It's like, do you want to try this with me? And then just kind of practicing that art. Loved it. And then word of mouth kind of just
Brought you here.
Here I am. And then, so now here we are. I'm just going to wrap it up with my parents again. They're seeing like, oh, like there is like, this can be a career. You're doing well in this. You're good at this. So,
And they probably see that you really like.
and they see that I really like it. So it's all happy now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It all comes together
It does.
because now you're doing weddings, which I
Hmm.
feel like for photographers is like a big deal.
It's huge.
I mean, it probably pays the most,
It does.
which let's be real. I mean, you have to pay bills if you want to be a photographer
Hmm.
professionally. So,
Hmm.
and it's also a great way, I think, to showcase your work and to spread via word of mouth. And
Hmm.
like, a lot of people who get married end up having kids and then they need a newborn photographer and then they need a family
That's always
photographer.
the biggest compliment when you stay in their lives and watch them grow. That's a really fulfilling part of it. But also, um, weddings, you're spending 10 hours a day with these people. So you really get to hone in on those communication skills also.
Hmm.
And then you're sad at the end of the day. You're like, I'm never going to see them again until they have kids or something.
Yeah. I feel like I'm a super introverted person. And I think actually a lot of quilters are. That's why we like sit in our sewing rooms and sew by ourselves. Not everybody does, but a lot of us do. And I'd probably be happy to leave at the end of a 10-hour day if like talking to people, being energetic, I'd be like dead on my feet.
That's so
Mm.
interesting how being introverted and extroverted works because usually when it'll take me a while to gear up and go like, "Oh my gosh, it's gonna be a long day," but at the end of the day,
Your
it really
cup is
does.
full.
No, it gives me energy. Like, I go home and I'm
Yeah.
like, "That was so much fun. I love everybody. I loved her parents. I loved her cousins. Did you see that guy?" Like, I'm literally energized, and it's, like, midnight, and here I am with my Whataburger, and I'm just my back's hurting, but it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Science, man,
Good
brains.
for you. I'm really glad we have people like that, guys. Hey. There's so many layers, I feel like, where quilting and photography overlap and sort of translate into each other's world. So at first I was like, man, I want to have Carissa on the podcast because one, I like talking to you. Two, I think you're really good at your photos. And three, one time, remember we did it was a scout cloth photo shoot for, I think it was like different products. I can't remember exactly what we were shooting, but we had a little bit of time at Studio Haven. And so you took some photos of some of
Mhm.
my quilts and they turned out so good and so pretty. And then I'm also on Instagram. I like being on Instagram. I like sharing my progress. The whole quilting Instagram world it's like its whole little machine.
Mhm.
Because we like to share product or progress photos and stuff we like and colors we like. And we do it all through photography. And I feel like everybody kind of does it their own way. And
Mhm.
the way we figure out how to do it is just what's easy and like, oh, that looks kind of good. So there we are. And there are some people who have tried to do some courses on like quilt photography, like online kind of
Mhm.
courses. Um, but most of us just have an iPhone, and a lot of us are like in a dark basement room, like sewing. We don't have great lighting. So there's some technical stuff, but I think a lot of that is stuff that we just have to kind of figure out on our own. Like you
Mhm.
said, practicing,
Yeah.
figuring out what you like. But where, if you were trying to tell someone, like, I don't know, me, because I'm not that great at photographing things, what are your tips? Do you have any tips for people to just photograph things like fabric or a quilt block or something like that? Where do you start?
Always start with lighting.
Hmm.
And I know that you mentioned like being stuck in the basement, um, and you may not have the best lighting. Well, pack up and find the light because there have been times like shooting a wedding where there's time that's available and that's not always the case.
Ideal.
Yes, we
Yeah.
never have time at weddings. Like everything's so jam packed. Um, but and say like the brides in the bride suite and the bridal suite is super dark. Um, I'm just gonna move them. Like initially I was very timid, but then I found myself always leaving and regretting that I did not use that time to move them into a better lighting situation.
Hmm.
Lighting is like the number one golden rule for photography. Like always chase the light, find the light. it's worth the extra time. It's worth picking up and move. It's worth the hassle. Always find the light. Um, Second tip would be I like when take pictures of seniors, senior like high school seniors, graduates.
Yeah, actually, this begs the question. Senior photos are a big deal
Yes.
where we are.
Yes.
Are they everywhere?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Because homecoming mums are a big deal where we're
In
from.
Texas, yes.
And people do not understand what that is. So I'm like, I assume people know about senior photos, but
I think they are,
I would think so.
but that is a good question.
I know. So down here, when you're a graduating senior, you dress all cute and pretty and you get your photo taken, like a portrait.
Yeah, but they kind of go all out. Like,
Oh, yeah, big time.
like I have different
Like multiple
packages.
outfit changes,
Yes.
sometimes multiple locations, sometimes like dudes who are into guitar will like pose with their guitar so that they, I guess, remember for the rest of their life that when they were in high school, they liked to play guitar.
When I was in high school, like we just did like mainly studio senior sessions, and that was kind of it. I did have some friends where their parents would like hire photographers, but it wasn't that big of a deal as I think it is now. Like now, like there's senior Sunday, and all the seniors post their senior pictures.
Their senior photos. And then like a graduation banquet, everybody has like a really nicely, professionally like styled thing. And in Texas, blue bonnets are a big deal in certain parts of the state. So I feel like people always want to have like flowers or...
That's like always my number one request. I'm like, do y'all realize we live in San Angelo, Texas?
I know.
And there's not very many.
There's like four blue bonnets on the side of like the loop.
Yeah. I'm like, I can ask Photoshop to help me, but
great.
There's not very many. Yeah. So senior photos, and like I said at the beginning, taking photos is not the most comfortable. Even if you're an excited senior to get your photos taken, it's very initially intimidating situation.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
They don't know what they look like when like they're just trusting me to get the best pictures. But I always come at seniors with this approach, and I think you can kind of apply this to anything like product wise. I always start wide. I start as far away from them as possible just to give them some space between them. Like, I don't want to start close up and, hi, we just met. I'm going to get up all up in your grill.
Yeah.
So I always start wide. And then I kind of inch my way as we get to know each other better. And I think that's a great almost formula for if you're taking pictures of your quilts. Start far away and then get up close to make sure that you also, not that you're getting intimate with your quilt, but
or maybe you are.
Maybe you are. I don't know. Maybe you are. But it also helps you not miss any of those angles. Like, here it is in its entirety, but here it is all the way to the sweetest little details, like the thread, the stitching, I'm just making up stuff. I don't know.
No, you're not. You know what you're talking about. It's I like that you said that because for me, whenever I think about choosing fabric for a quilt, you talked about how you're a big color person. I'm a big texture person. So I use linens and yarn dyed fabric and woven fabric and sometimes fabric that has like top stitching on it because that's detail I like. And when you take a big picture far away, you don't see necessarily all those little things that you'll touch or that'll crinkle up and be all pretty after you wash it or things like that. But if you only take pictures of that, you won't see the whole thing.
Yeah.
And quilting it's a making a quilt. Like a quilt is a tactile. Some people make art quilts that they hang on the wall.
True.
And you probably shouldn't go touching those. But like I make quilts to snuggle in, throw on the couch, have a picnic on or whatever. And so capturing the up close and like trying to feel it through the photo.
And I love that you said that because I think that would probably lead to my like third tip, which would be to keep it as in a way candid as possible. I mentioned that the photography world's a little bit saturated and there's all these people that are offering senior photos, and what's happening is it kind of creates this stereotypical senior portrait. And I am
Yes.
like not a bandwagoner. I don't know if it's just like,
I'm not either.
I don't know if you know anything about the Enneagram, but I'm an Enneagram 4, and Enneagram 4 is like value individuality, uniqueness. And so anything that I see someone else doing, I'm like, oh, I can never do that. Or if like this artist is the artist of the week, I'm like, I don't really care for them because everybody else does. Like, I'm so stubborn in that way. But in photography too, like, there's very, like, you see a picture and you're like, senior pose.
Yeah.
Like, hands against the arms crossed, leaning against the
Yeah.
wall. That's very senior posy. So I try my hardest. Like, of course, those are great for like the families. Like, I always
Mhm.
call them like mom picture. This one's for mom or this one's
Yeah.
for grandma.
Yeah.
Those are great in that sense, but still you want to capture that person as they are.
Yes.
And I would say like for quilts too, like capture quilt snuggled up around that baby, capture that quilt in use. And it kind of creates that warm, authentic, this is what quilts are for. If that's your thing. Like you
Yeah.
mentioned, there's like different styles where people hang them up for art installations or things, something like that. But if that's your style, is like you create quilts to be loved on, then take pictures of them being loved on.
Yeah. That's great because a lot of times I feel like to try to get a good photo of like the whole shebang,
Mm-hmm.
I'll like lay it out on the floor and then I'm struggling because I want to get up close enough where you can't tell it's on the floor. Cause I'm like, but he just uses their quilt on the floor like a rug or like a carpet.
Yeah.
And I have like, it's like an ethical dilemma because I want to get a picture of the whole thing and I don't have. Well, actually, we've talked about, I did an episode with Jordan where we talked about all kinds of things, but also he is usually the quilt holder, which is like,
Oh, I've heard you talk
yeah,
about this.
quilt husbands
Mhm.
everywhere have to like hold it up,
Yeah.
but you got to squat down so you can't
And, like,
see.
they're only
Yeah.
holding with, like, the very tips so we could barely see their fingers.
Yes. It's ridiculous. But we don't always have our quilt holders. And so I was like, well, I'll try to just go easy on the man and I'll do it on the floor. But it just looks unnatural. So I like
Eh, natural is great. When imposing people, if I'm like, "Will you cross your ankles? Will you lean this way?" And then I see them struggling, I'm like, "You don't feel comfortable, do you?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Okay, start over, and I want you to sit in a position that you feel comfortable because you're gonna totally that translates."
you'll know,
Yes,
like, oh
you'll
my gosh, this is painful.
yes,
Or,
yes.
yeah.
And I think when people like that's how it's perceived too. Like people are like,
Hmm.
"That's a little bit awkward." Or it just makes them feel nothing at all, but that's the whole goal is to make people feel things. So
Yeah.
take it off the floor, Emily.
Yeah, I know. My quilt carpet days are over. And it's funny too because I feel like with quilting, it's like, okay, well, I'll try to just drape it on this chair as if I was like snuggling in it and I just
Mhm,
got it.
mhm.
And then it'll look like it's ridiculous how much time you can spend folding it like so that just the right thing is showing. And then you're like, nobody would ever have this in their house.
Can you please make videos of you trying to pose your blanket on a couch?
Yeah, I will.
Have you seen that trend though? I really love that where it's like now, like say it's a fashion influencer and they make those videos where it's like, you know how they have all these
Oh,
crazy
yes, of
transitions?
them actually doing
Yeah,
it.
I love it. I love it so much. I'm like, yes, this is the reality that everyone asked for.
Yeah, it's very funny. I have some, like, bloopers of Jordan holding quilts, like,
Yes.
picture the wind because we live in a very windy spot, so it's like you unfurl the quilt and the wind just, like, sucks it onto,
It's like those
your
things with the
body.
needle.
Yes,
It's
it's
like
like
Jordan's
that.
body.
But his arms are like this. I call it the quilty Jesus because it looks like a crucifix plastered in a quilt. Anyway, it can be hard. I mean, here's the question. Every like amateur quilting tip, not quilting tip, photography tip that we try to apply to our quilting is natural light. Like you said, find the light. Okay. But what if it's like 10 p.m. and you're like, oh, I want to take a picture of this. But if I wait for the light to come up, like the sun to come up or get my window, then I have to stop my progress and I can't keep going because I have to sew this like little piece into like a bigger quilt. Are there any solutions to that issue, or should you just let it go? Like just keep going and then
This is a very good question, and I too am struggling with this
I
as
know.
a photographer. But I think like even like your ring light or something with a white light,
Like a white bright
a
kind of
white
thing.
bright kind of light situation, that's the only time I'll think I'll ever bend for not
Like
having
artificial lighting,
Yeah.
basically. I have a canvas ring light and I haven't figured out exactly how to use it. Like there's all these different warmth levels or warmth tones. What would you call it? Is that a tone? Speaking of color. Um, different types of light. And I'm still trying to figure out like what looks best and when to use it and all the things.
I would say no, I wouldn't go too warm because that's when like your colors start getting a little bit distorted.
Like yellowish.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would opt for like a whiter, but not like blue white.
Not like LED
Yeah.
blasting like blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the blue light too is gonna your whites especially your quilt gonna look blue.
Yeah.
So, but that's really tough.
It seems like common sense, but these are things that are not intuitive when you're not like.
I think a fun solution too is those 1990 like point and shoot cameras. To like you put the 35 millimeter film in the back and then.
Yes.
I think those are fun too, like just to get at a fun little creative. Like they have flash on them. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then those will look like your
Look like
grandmother's
mama's
Yeah.
photos. Yeah. When it comes to photographing quilts, the other thing I figured out, because I've kind of figured out how I like to showcase to a certain extent. And so I'll take all these different angles. Like
Yeah.
the reason Jordan holds the quilts is because I know I'm like, I like to squat this way and take it this way and that way and all this stuff. So if we have to use a light source, like, our ring light or whatever, or we're out and the sun is like beaming on us because we live in a sunny place. What's the best way? Like, how should you orient your light to your
Oh my gosh.
subject? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, this is like photography school stuff right here.
But this should be 101.
I'm trying to think of how to
Or like
101 is.
99.
I feel like they need like a diagram. 99. That's really funny.
Remedial.
I would, if it's a bright, sunny day, I would say find like under a tree, like a shady spot. It usually helps if you can bounce that light. So like a concrete surface sometimes will bounce light from the sun. Like say the sun's coming down, the light's gonna bounce back up. Also, if you want to get really technical with it, if you want to go 103, there's these fun reflectors on Amazon that you can get for $17, and that will reflect the light onto your product. And what that does, instead of making it like super bright on your quilt, it helps kind of diffuse the light.
Like it bounces and kind of spreads it in more of a glow than a beam.
Yes.
Maybe?
No, exactly.
Okay.
So,
are you talking about the silver thing?
Yes.
Okay.
And a kind of a fun little way you could do it too is if the sun is behind it, you'll get that backlight, that backglow.
Like a stained glass kind of look.
Oh,
Is that what you mean?
stained glass. Like, say here's like, this is you, and the sun is coming down this way.
Okay.
It would create you viewing it. It'd create this fun little glow around it.
Okay, I got you.
So, I mean, I think it's fun to just try.
Try different things.
Yeah, try different angles.
Yeah.
Because you never know what you're going to get. And that's kind of like, now I know because I've been doing pictures for like 8 years now.
Right.
I know what fun little effects I'll get, like being on different sides of it. But it's all trial and error, but all of it's fun.
Yeah. And the beauty, I think, of the digital age is if it's not good, you just delete it.
Bah.
I guess you could take notes. on what you like. Because here's another thing I struggle with is the sunsets out here are so pretty. But I think I need to wait for the sun to be a little bit lower because sometimes, like, I'll want to take a picture of my quilt with the sunset behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it gets, like, if the sun is shining, like, into the camera, aka my iPhone,
Mm-hmm.
it gets a weird, like, halo or something around it.
Yeah.
So do you think that just means the sun is too intense?
Yes.
Okay.
Sunset is actually the hardest time to take photos.
But it looks the
It's so hard.
best.
I know. I know. Oh, okay. So because the sun is setting,
Mhm.
your light's essentially going away. So
Yes.
all you have that's lighting your source from the front is just the sky.
Yeah.
So even that will mess with the color. So you've heard of like golden hour and then you've heard of blue hour. Well,
Yeah.
that will start messing with the colors of your subject. So it's so tricky to shoot at sunset. One alternative is actually using your flash to brighten that subject so that you keep the beautiful sunset and then you're getting this like essentially spotlight on
Yeah,
it.
from the front.
Yeah, so it stays its true color versus
Mhm.
turning orange and pink and with the
Yeah,
sunset. Sunset is so tricky.
it is. And I'm glad you said that because, when you see something, especially nature, like to me, nature, there's moments like golden hour, sunset, where it's like a supernatural beauty that
Mhm.
comes over things. And if you try to take a picture of it, you will never capture
Yeah,
the
the true
reality
essence.
of
Yeah,
like the magic, but it looks really pretty.
it's so pretty.
So at least I know that's an advanced move, and I don't feel so
Yeah,
bad that I
it
haven't
is very
mastered it
advanced.
yet. You mentioned getting in a shady spot, like under a tree.
Mhm.
So it's probably better not to be just getting like blasted by the sun
Yes.
because that's,
I mean, your iPhones are so good at like color correcting.
Mm,
So I think if you're taking a photo in full sun on your iPhone can handle it.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not,
different than
yeah, it's
film.
not the case for like my camera. I really have to adjust and adjust until it's
Yeah.
right. But I usually find that shade works best for me in full sun on my camera.
Yeah.
But I think your iPhone can keep up.
Sometimes that's kind of a cool look too, like the dappled light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just thought of this. You were talking about a reflector. I've heard a tip, like a amateur tip, is those um science fair project poster
Yeah,
boards? Like
those
the
do the
white
same thing.
one will like bounce it.
It totally will.
So
That is a good tip.
I've tried that before.
Photographers use that like in studios.
Yeah.
They'll just use those what are you called?
I don't know. It's like a folding thing. I
Yeah,
don't know.
telling you wrong.
It makes me think of like the science fair poster board. And then also, I don't know if they still do this, but when you would take tests, sometimes at school, they'd like
Yeah,
put those things
so
around
you couldn't
you
cheat.
so you couldn't cheat or you like had to focus.
Oh, was that what it was for? Is that
I
why I
don't
kept
know.
getting those on my
I
desk
just always
for
remember being
focus?
like, okay, it's on. Like, I was very serious about school.
That tracks.
That's why I was in school forever. I actually really wish I could still be in school sometimes.
You're different.
I know.
You're a different breed.
Maybe that's why we're having photography school on the
Mhm.
podcast. Um, I'm thinking of your product photography
Mhm.
experience. Did you ever use props or things like that?
Yeah, I love props and I use props for a lot of different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just like the levels. You're trying to create like a fun composition.
Like some depth.
Yeah, some depth.
Okay.
I want this a little bit higher here. I want this a little bit lower here. So props in that sense, but also props to kind of um, add to the feel or add to the color. Um, I love a green plant in any kind of product photography because it's just
Mm-hmm.
green is we now we're going to talk about like color theory and stuff, but like green is life and nature and life and so I love having like the pop of green, but I love a pop of green when it's like opposite color wheel and you throw like a red in there. Like if the
Mm-hmm.
product's red, I'm gonna need something green to really make those colors pop.
Mm-hmm.
So I love products for like color, um,
Emotion
emotion, yeah.
or like feel.
Yeah. And
Mood.
eye catching, like when you're scrolling and you like, oh, what is this? I need to stop and stare for a little bit longer. So even products that are kind of not traditional, like I think some standard props are like a plant, a coffee mug, things like that. But you throw like a basket of strawberries. Ooh, what's this? Something a little different and
Strawberries
fun.
and fabric?
Yeah, love that. Sounds messy. It sounds like I'm doing laundry soon. Yeah, I love props.
Yeah. I think it makes things look, in some ways more natural,
Yeah.
unless you're like putting like your thread in a loop-de-loop, like how it would never. Like if you're really trying to style like a flat lay or like you're photographing like a little, let's say like a quilt block or your fabric pull or something, it's really easy to get caught up in like, I need it to lay exactly right and do like, I need my plant to fall just like this. So I don't know. I could probably be a little more loosey-goosey to make it feel natural.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you this. You might not have an answer. So I share a lot of my photos, my quilt photos on Instagram. But one of my goals is to have a journal of my quilt projects so I can kind of document like the fabric I used and what it ended up looking like and some of the details of it. But I'm in this phase. I don't know if it's my age or our generation as millennials. I really have a craving for analog stuff. Like, I want it to be a book.
Yeah.
And I guess I could just tape a picture in because I've thought about doing a digital photo book, but those don't have the same.
Yeah.
Like, I want to handwrite by the picture, you know? So, do you have any favorite ways of printing photos? Do you ever print them?
I do
Because you
print them.
deliver a lot digitally
I
as a
do.
photographer
I
these
do.
days.
It's pretty much 80%
Yeah.
digital. If I do print them, I send them directly to like framing companies. Like now framing companies will print and frame, and so I don't have to worry about a thing, and I'd rather them do all the work.
Yeah.
But no, that's tough.
I'm going to have to find a place.
I probably have a couple like saved on Pinterest of photo album because I think about doing that stuff all the time. Like,
And then you
I need
never
to document
do.
my photos from my trips and stuff.
I
But
know.
they're all just kind of so. I have all the intention, so I know I have some pins saved with like maybe companies that print
Yeah.
photos.
I've done Artifact Uprising, I guess, is a company that will do, you can make like calendars or get them framed or get a canvas. And I think they'll do photographs also. I guess you just have to figure out if you want matte or glossy or satin or whatever all those finishes are and all that stuff. Do any of those finishes affect the color, do you think? Probably not too much.
I found that they do not. I think it's all up to preference.
Yeah.
As far as your finish, but colors usually don't. It's not a huge difference.
Did you ever learn about color theory? This is from my own kind of knowledge. I try to read about color theory and I literally like, I get it, but I don't apply it very well.
I only know the basics of color theory, and like I learned it in
School.
and it was like a graphic design class. But in the graphic design class, you're also learning about a ton of other things. So
Like Adobe.
Yeah. Oh, actually, it was Corel Draw.
Corel Draw. I remember that.
Yeah, that was my graphic class. It's like irrelevant now, and so I really don't know if any of what I have to say about design is relevant anymore because it was so long ago. But I just know the basics of color theory from that course. And I think also just that natural gifting of I think you can feel color theory.
Yes, I do too. And so I just don't even, because a lot of quilters will try to apply color theory to how they design a pattern or pick fabrics for a pattern or a project they're making. And I'm like, I maybe don't have the mental capacity for that. So I just pick what I like.
Yeah, that's also the thing about a theory, though. Like, it's not for real.
Yeah, it's not science.
Yeah. Do what you want.
It kind of is science.
Well, I say just do it feels good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because that's how you develop your style.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you're just going to be a photographer?
I hope.
Like that's going to
I
be,
hope. That's my hope,
yeah,
is that I'm just a photographer.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could do it. Traveling might be hard though. Do you have to travel a lot?
I love to travel.
You choose to
I
travel.
choose to travel.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd have to, but it's always like a big win when you're like,
When you get to.
yeah.
Yeah. How do you charge for it?
I usually,
Mileage?
yeah.
Distance?
I usually do by distance.
Yeah.
Like every 75 miles, I charge this much extra.
$1 million more.
Yes, exactly. How'd you know my prices?
I guess. I thought about your work and I valued it in my mind.
Oh, wow.
At least $1 million.
Say it again. I don't think people should have to pay like $1 million for photos.
I like where you're going with this because I also feel like I don't think people should have to pay $1 bajillion to sew
Yeah.
a quilt.
Yeah.
It sounds ridiculous, but these are things that they really mean something to people.
Yeah, like their great great grandchildren are going to see these photos of their wedding, and it's like, what if people can't afford that? And I don't
Yeah.
think that should be like an issue for people.
Right.
It's sad.
It is. But when it's a fine line to balance because you want to be able to sustain your life. And if you're super stressed, you're not going to have time or energy to feel creative.
Right.
Money is a big stressor. You also need to have enough where as a business, you'll be able to do like continuing growth and education for yourself as an artist, right?
Mhm.
But I get what you're saying.
Having the artist soul is a struggle.
Yeah, you're an empath, which is not a bad thing. I think too many of us are not empathetic enough, but some of us are too much, especially women, especially creatives.
That's wow.
But I also have a thing about gatekeeping knowledge, and that's part of why I learned to quilt from my grandma. My grandma learned to quilt from her, like, probably mother or some, little old lady that she knew growing up. And it's just the same way she learned how to make dinner rolls. Like, she learned it from an oral history or just like hey, let me show you how to do this because you need to know how to do it. And then I wanted to do it. So my mama just taught me how to do it. And I learned how to do everything. So I at least had vocabulary and physical ability to kind of figure out if I wanted to try something different and I looked at it on YouTube, I'd figure it out. But the interesting thing I think it's social media specifically, is that it almost makes you feel like if you're not monetizing something, you're not serious about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I just try to think about if someone discovered, say, quilting or maybe photography on Instagram, it's like, how would I even get into this? And someone's like, here's my course for $1,000.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that's necessary for people to make a living in quilting or photography or whatever,
I have a thought about this.
Hit me with it.
No, I was literally thinking, like, at some point, this monetizing things on social media, like, it has to stop.
It does because it's too much.
Well, now, like, I don't even know who to trust anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I like this person a whole lot, but like, yeah, it may work for them, but also they probably naturally have really great skin already.
yes.
So at some point, when does it
When
stop?
it's too much. Well, and that's like so I'm a little bit snooty and snobby, and I'm also a little bit like you in that just because someone is doing something and then everybody else does the same thing,
Mhm.
a lot of times I'm like very skeptical
Yeah.
or I'm like very reticent to be like, oh, wow, that's so cool. But if
Right.
you market yourself as an expert, suddenly you are.
That's how marketing works. And unfortunately, is
And it's getting a little bit out of control.
my grandma, like, once she heard that I bought a house, she was at my doorstep with a truckload of stuff. She was like, oh, I've been saving these for you. I'm like, have you, or do you just need somewhere else to store it? But she brought me some of my great grandma's quilts,
Oh,
and um, one of them has like this stuff inside of it that's like coming out of
the batting's coming out.
maybe that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
Are there holes in it?
there is a hole in it.
And that's where it's coming out.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I don't know what to do with that, but I have it and it's just bleeding.
How big is the hole? The defect, as we would say in medicine.
The defect. I
Like this big or this big? Or like,
I think it's like this big.
okay.
It needs like new material there.
Mm-hmm. It's like eaten away, like
Yeah.
disintegrated. That's
Yeah.
what happens over time.
So what do you do when they disintegrate? Is that the end of their life, or can they be saved?
Some people do. So this is an interesting thing, right? And actually, a couple years ago, speaking of social media, this was very controversial. People have very strong opinions, and then there's always some drama, and you got to pick a side.
That's life.
Just kidding, you don't.
You have to pick a side.
You can see both sides and be empathetic to both, and then but some people will. So people were using old quilts and making clothing out of them, like a jacket
seen
or a
that.
bag. Remember patchwork pants?
Yes,
I owe you a pair.
you do. Owe me some patchwork pants.
So some people would use it. They call it a cutter quilt, meaning like it's not fully intact, and so I'll cut it up to make something. But I would argue if it's a quilt that's from your family and you know who made it, like you might want to give that to someone someday, like pass it on, or you might just want to love it. So I would encourage you to use it. And you probably, at that point, your solution is probably like a visible mending kind of situation. You could patch it some way that looks good, depending on what the design looks like. You should have brought it.
I've literally forgotten about it for like a year.
Well, you need to remember it.
I will.
When you're ready, just send me a picture of it.
I have a lot of things to send you pictures of now. My sewing machine and my
And your
great grandma's quilt.
moth-eaten quilt. Actually, it's usually, I think, just like where it gets folded a lot over time, it like kind of wears the fabric fibers out and then they just kind of go away. But I have a hole in one of my quilts that my dog chewed, so I just left it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like quilts. I think they're supposed to be used. So you got to fix it so it doesn't just get worse over time.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for the tips.
So many tips. My tip is send me a picture and I'll fix it because that's the kind of person I am. Like, I'll just do that for you.
Okay.
Well, that's it for this episode of Patchwork Revival. I loved having you here with me talking all things quilty. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave a rave review. Also, be sure to jump down to the show notes to find links for this episode, as well as the link to my shop where you can enjoy 15% off as a podcast listener with code REVIVAL. Remember that the Patchwork Revival podcast is here to celebrate the connection made in the quilts we love. I'll see you next time.
I can't wait to see your journal.
I really want to make one. Actually, I was like thinking.
Look, she took a picture of her floor. That's a floor, right? Looks like she just
No,
laid it
I think
down.
it's on a frame.
Oh, okay.
See this? Okay, see, you can see it here. This is like a big room, and my grandma and all her friends would like sit around this frame. So that quilt top is stretched over the batting, like the cottony stuff,
Okay.
and then the backing fabric.
Okay.
And then as they stitch it, it all comes together.
So they all work on this together?
That's how they would do it.
That is so cute.
That's part of her quilting group. They would go to quilt shows together. That's my quilt, one of my quilts she made me. Where's a picture of it? Well, that's a picture of them.
Okay.
They sit around and quilt the edges together.
You have this quilt.
Yep, that's my quilt that I made. My first like big girl quilt.
Is that this
No,
pattern? Oh, no. Oh, no, yeah, it's different. I see it now.
that little quilt is